Blake, and of course, we've got an all-star panel here to help weigh in on it. Fox News contributor and progressive radio host Leslie Marshall, and also GOP strategist Kevin Scott. Leslie, I guess the Democrats are loving all of this, huh?
Well, I'm loving it as a Democrat in the sense that I feel that Hillary will be the nominee and that Trump will be, and that he is easier to beat than some of the other names. However, I'm not loving it as an American for the political process and as an American for what this says for the GOP. Charles, if you look at every state, 50 out of 50 states, the Republicans favor and support Donald Trump between 30 and 50%, which as an American, I feel says that we have people who are angry at various people based on skin color, ethnic origin, religion, and that's very divisive and very dangerous in the multicultural America that I know and love. So I'm sad. I'm sad for the party, the GOP, even though I'm a Democrat, and I'm sad for the political process and the laughingstock we will become of the world if, in fact, he becomes our president, and how dangerous it will be, I believe, if he becomes our president.
You know, Kevin, here's the thing, though. If you look at the turnouts in these early states, you know, you can talk about the passions that are going on and even the shenanigans amongst the Republicans. But one thing is clear, the enthusiasm. People are out there in record numbers. They want their voices to be heard. To a large degree, Donald Trump gets credit for that. And ultimately, it does help Republicans no matter who the nominee is.
Well, I think Leslie's wrong and she's right. Where she's wrong is you have to remember we still have 5 candidates. We have 1 who's an African American, 2 who are Hispanic. We have more diversity, more inclusion in the Republican Party. Now, here's the bad side, and this is where Leslie is correct. Donald Trump at this point has more delegates than either Mitt Romney or John McCain in the last 2 cycles. He needs to be consolidating support right now. The things he's saying about Rubio and Cruz are more divisive. They're going to lead to a tougher time of the party coalescing if he becomes the nominee, and that's very dangerous because that leads to a Hillary Clinton presidency, which is definitely not a situation we want to be in.
So, Kevin, let me ask on that note, when you look at a poll, and now Trump is at 49% in this CNN poll, why would a Cruz or Rubio linger on? It gives people who believe Donald Trump should be the nominee concerns that the establishment's going to pull something or try to pull something off, a brokered convention, something that steals the nomination away from him. So maybe that's why he's keeping his foot on the pedal.
Well, that's true. So, first of all, if he gets well over this 50% mark, I think it's important to know that he's probably going to be the nominee. Here's the thing. As this field narrows, if you had Marco Rubio, if he were to win Florida and Ted Cruz were out of the race, or even John Kasich, who many believe is a long shot, but if he were to win Ohio and you could consolidate the anti-Trump
voters. But by the time you get to Ohio, I mean, you've gone through so many states, the Kasich thing seems nonsensical. And Rubio and Cruz, neither one are going to drop out. They probably urging each other every night on a midnight phone call while they drown in their sorrows.
Yeah, they're both trying to push each other out. But here's the thing. If Ted Cruz doesn't win Texas tomorrow, or if he comes in third in states like Georgia or Alabama or Tennessee where he should have won, he should have easily won those states, then I think you have a good argument for Ted Cruz to get out of the race and for people to coalesce around Rubio. Listen, I think Trump is probably going to be the nominee, but if people want to give a shot to somebody else, they have to start narrowing this field.
Leslie, you know, every 4 years we hear how mean-spirited and racist the Republicans are. You know, do you really think that somehow the narrative will seem different to Main Street and that it will somehow negate whoever the nominee is, even if it's Trump?
Well, in a general election, I would hope that the American people, after electing twice an African American, wouldn't be so quite racist. Unfortunately, Donald Trump is bringing that very negative stereotype of the GOP voter to be true right now when you look at the numbers. Although I agree with Kevin with 2 points. One, I have always said that Donald Trump had a chance at, and I do believe he will be the nominee. But second, I don't understand if the Republican Party really doesn't want this guy to win. They should have had a sit down with Kasich and Cruz and Carson and Rubio and decided who are they going to put forth. And I think the best person to put forth, and when you look at the polls, would be a Marco Rubio. They had a while to do this. I think they missed the mark in not doing that. And right now they're looking to the Senate, as you know, because I think they're going to try to help Hillary win just to maintain a majority in the Senate, which they fear will be the backlash if a Donald Trump gets the nomination.
That is amazing to say that they would go that far. But to your point, maybe they should have sat down with Jeb also before South Carolina,
yes,
and might have a different look to it right now. Guys, we're going to come back. Leslie and Kevin, we'll see you later on in the hour. Hillary Clinton riding a wave of momentum with her very big win in South Carolina, as the candidates there in the Democratic Party also heading to their Super Tuesday. There's a new poll out today that shows Clinton topping Bernie Sanders 55% to 38%. So could tomorrow be Sanders' last stand? Joining me now, our very own Peter Barnes, along with Fox News' Leslie Marshall and Republican strategist Kevin Scott. But first to Peter, who's in Fairfax, Virginia, where Hillary Clinton set to hold a rally. Peter, she's riding a big wave of momentum now.
That's right, Charles. And Virginia, one of these critical Super Tuesday states. She's also going to be coming from Massachusetts, another Super Tuesday state. But here in Virginia, she is at George Mason University, trying to reach out to the younger voters who so far have been flocking to Bernie Sanders. And despite Clinton's big victory in South Carolina on Saturday, younger voters went for Bernie Sanders. Once again, it was one of the few demographics he won in South Carolina, 54% to 46%, according to Fox News exit polls. That has not stopped Clinton from talking like a frontrunner, attacking the Republican frontrunner today, though not by name.
I don't think America has ever stopped being great. What we need to do now is make America whole. What we can't let happen is the scapegoating, the blaming, the finger pointing that is going on the Republican side.
There are 865 Democratic delegates up for grabs tomorrow in 11 states and 1 territory. About a third of the total delegates needed to clinch the nomination, 95 from here in Virginia alone. So you could tell why this state is so important to Hillary Clinton. Sanders is targeting 4 states tomorrow to try to pick up delegates. His home state of Vermont, also Colorado, Oklahoma, and Massachusetts, though a new poll in the Bay States shows him trailing Hillary Clinton there 42% to 50%. Charles?
Peter Barnes, thank you very much. I want to go back to the panel, Leslie Marshall and Kevin Scott. Leslie, listen, Bernie Sanders has been sort of remarkable. He wasn't supposed to come this far, and I think he is. I think he's showing the vulnerability of a Hillary Clinton going into a general election. This sort of anti-establishment thing that plays big time on the GOP side rings pretty true on the Democratic side, too.
It does, but the problem here, Charles, and it is the problem on the right as well, Donald Trump and Senator Sanders are making a lot of promises, more so that they can't keep than other people running. Like Hillary Clinton has said over and over, give me something I can sell. There's a reality to that. There's a difference between saying, hey, you're going to get free college on the left, and then on the right, we're going to build a wall and have Mexico pay for it. It's good for grandstanding. It's great for rallies, but it's not practical when right now you have a Republican House that doesn't look likely to change, even if you get a Democratic Senate and a Democrat in the White House. So Hillary Clinton, if you look at the numbers in South Carolina, didn't just do well with African Americans, didn't just do well with the older numbers. She also is doing better with females as of late, and we're seeing that state by state. Tomorrow, and I like Senator Sanders, but I am a Hillary gal, Senator Sanders needs to really pull it out. He needs to do well in places like Minnesota and Colorado, Oklahoma, Massachusetts. He gets 3 out of those, and the game isn't over. But I think the fat lady may be singing tomorrow for Senator Sanders if most of the predictions that I'm seeing ring true for Hillary.
Well, another issue that we're seeing here, though, Kevin, is enthusiasm, if you will. The total voter turnout, for instance, in South Carolina for the Democrats, significantly lower than it was the last time around. Is this a concern for the eventual nominee, particularly Hillary, who just doesn't seem to be lighting a fire under anybody?
Well, certainly, and I think the air of the criminal charges that could come against Hillary definitely have people concerned. But Leslie's right. Barring an indictment for Hillary Clinton, she's going to be this nominee. She's going to win the delegates. You add on the superdelegates, she's going to win this thing. Here's the challenge. She is trying to focus and pivot towards a general election, which is smart for her. But the people on the left are trying to hold her back. That's why Robert Reich, one of Clinton's labor secretaries, is endorsing Bernie Sanders. They're trying to say, hey, not so fast, Hillary. We need you to keep pulling towards the left. And if they do that too hard and too forcefully, it's going to hurt her even more so than even some of the criminal stuff in a general election.
Leslie, I want to pick up on that. Also, you had the Tulsi Gabbard from Hawaii. She was the vice chair of the DNC. She quit to endorse Bernie Sanders. Now, maybe it's too little too late, but that says something about Hillary Clinton, doesn't it?
No, absolutely not. If we look at Robert, for example, he endorsed Barack Obama, so he didn't endorse Hillary last time around. Endorsements don't do much. We've seen much bigger names endorsing people left or right that really haven't done much, with names like Clinton, her husband, the former president, or Kennedy, for example, in Democratic circles. No, if you look at Robert Reich, for example, if you look at his book, if you look at his documentary, and if you look at his work in addition to his tweets as of late, first of all, he's been very pro-Senator Sanders before making the official endorsement. And second of all, he's been talking about income inequality and been on the same page as Senator Sanders with regard to the economy.
But Leslie, isn't that a core Democratic issue, income inequality? I mean, it feels like Hillary has drawn a line in the sand on how far left she'll be pulled. Is that a mistake on her part?
No, not at all, because there's a reality. Again, like I said earlier, there's a difference between what you can promise and what you can deliver. And I think what Hillary Clinton is doing is speaking about what she can deliver, and she's not looking at, I think Senator Sanders says, look, capitalism bad for America, no capitalism. And that's just not going to work in a general election. Not everybody who's going to vote for Hillary Clinton come November is going to be a Democrat. I think we're going to see some women jump from the Republican side, and I think others will vote for Hillary if Donald Trump is the nominee, and I think he will be the nominee. And of course, those are moderate, centrist independents or don't want to align themselves with a political party who are undecided perhaps right now.
Well, there's definitely going to be a lot of movement. Maybe the old Reagan Democrats are going to come out this time before the Republican. Guys, you were fantastic. Leslie and Kevin, thank you both very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, guys, make sure you tune in to